Let's get right to it. So Airbnb is what? Air, bed, and breakfast. So Airbnb is a super popular entity in the city. It's also a super popular for people to stay. So basically what it is sort of like a hotel, but owned by a private person. You can rent for a month, you can rent for a night. Now some cities require longer term. Some neighborhoods require longer term. Philadelphia has pretty few restrictions on how long you can stay in an Airbnb. So we're going to talk about Airbnb generally. What do I need to get one? What are the best areas for it? So we start with, what do you need? Limited lodging regulation. So the city of Philadelphia requires you to have a special permit if you want to make your house an Airbnb. It's that simple. So if you're considering renting your property out as an Airbnb for more than 90 days, there are three things that you need. So the first is a commercial activity license. You also need a BIRT, which basically is a business license, a tax license to run a business in the city of Philadelphia. So next is you need a use registration permit. So it's either a limited lodging, like we mentioned before, or it's for visitor accommodation. One or the other, you gotta pick one. So we need a license and we need a registration permit. So number three is a certificate of occupancy, a CO. So we need a license, we need a permit, we need a certificate. If the property is not owner occupied, now if you don't live in the property, then you need this CO. I advise you get the CO either way. If you're gonna do an Airbnb for more than 90 days, get the CO. This way you won't have any problems. Now you can live out of state and be an out of state investor and get the CO. You can live in the house and Airbnb it, have the CO as well. It just makes it a little more above board, just makes it easier for everyone. Yes, it does cost you a little more money, a little more time, but you got all three of those, you're in the Airbnb business. So I want to clarify, you do not need a rental license. Now this is as of this moment and about a quarter way through the year of 2022, but you do need a limited lodging license. You do need a LLL, I guess it's called an LLL. You do need a license to allow limited lodging in your property, but it's not a rental license, which is a little different. All right, so let's talk costs. There's a major website out there, I mean, hint, hint, wink, wink, Airbnb.com. It's free to list. Now, there are tons of these sites, and most of them are free. Some of them have a small yearly fee, and you can list unlimited times. But the fees come for when you actually rent out your place, so when you actually get a guest. So the amount of money you collect, 3% fee for you to use their website. Now, the guest has a fee of about maybe 14 or 15%, so there's a total of around 18%. Some Airbnbers owners are paying the fees for the guests, but they're working it into the price. But how much does it cost? 3% to you, 14% to them, give or take a few percentage points. All right, so we covered, yes, Airbnb is legal. You may have to change the use of your property, but you filling out these forms, getting the certificate, the license, the permit, you're gonna be in good shape. So Philly has had a pretty great run of Airbnb incidents over the course of, the last 20 years, let's say. The website and the city itself is actually trying to block, and they're blocking younger occupants. So those under 25, no offense, people that are 25 and younger, but a couple of bad apples in your age group were causing quite a ruckus, and thousands of people are being terminated, and they're being declined because they're not of a certain age. I guess that kind of has something to do with the rental car business too. You have to be a certain age. But look, that's for another video. So if you start asking around, and there's some pretty great fun stories. I mean, there's rooftop ruckuses, partying into the wee hours. The places were actually destroyed by the occupants. Wild parties and the such, or maybe they accidentally tripped and fell. Even a DJ booth was created out of a closet, was ripped out, and a DJ booth was inserted to allow the ruckus to continue. So anything from trash being left and trash being thrown out the windows to fireworks, even to some shootings. Now, not to say if you're an Airbnb or you're gonna get shot or gonna get shot at, but of course, anytime there's a problem and we have something to complain about, we'll focus on the negative. So it has caused us to create these laws, which are I think, helpful and good. It's good for you, it's good for the guests, it's good for the city, it's good for me, it's good for everybody. All right, so where do we start? How do you start, right? So it all has to do with location. Now, Airbnb is being offered and can be offered depending on the local rules, depending on the rules of the city, the township, the neighborhood, wherever you happen to be. You can Airbnb it anywhere. We're talking the city, we're talking Philadelphia. The most popular areas for Airbnb are where people want to stay, where they're fun. So Old City is a big one. A lot of tourist attractions, a lot of fun things to do, super walkable. Of course, you got Newbold and Point Breeze and South Philadelphia. You got Queen Village, you got Bella Vista, Italian Market area, you got Fairmount. You got a lot of popular areas. Center City is certainly, but pretty much everywhere around the city will work well. Now, not exactly 100% every square foot of the city, but anywhere it's fun and walkable and hip and cool and easy to get around, people will come. They'll come and stay, and then they'll travel around the city. So to find the best Airbnb properties, the only thing you need to do is give me a call. I am your local real estate expert. Certainly want to help you in any way we can, but I can get you a list of properties. You could also go on the World Wide Web. You can go on our website and check them out. Again, you don't need to search specifically for Airbnb. You actually will create the Airbnb permission once you become the owner, but you do want to focus on certain neighborhoods. All right, so the average prices of these homes could be anywhere from $250,000 to $650,000, depending on where you want to go, how robust you want to get. Where are you in Center City? Are you all the way up in the mansions in the sky, or are you in a beautiful row home in the South Philadelphia area? You're going to be probably in, on, and around $300,000 price point. Certainly can get you something around $200,000, and in that $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 range, you're going to be in great shape. Now, what kind of money are we going to make, right? That's important. So the average around the city. Kind of cringing saying this because we do get some lovely comments from you folks, and please comment down below if you have some great information, but the average price around the city is about $121 per night. Now look, they go as low as $38 a night for a studio and as high as $300, $400, $500 a night for one of these beautiful, luxurious mansions in the sky, with the average being around $121. I see a lot around $130, $140, $150 in these cool, fun, hip, great areas. Almost the costs are the same price as one of our great hotels, or even cheaper than some of our great hotels. No offense, hotels of Philadelphia, but hey, Airbnb is it's here to stay. So it's important to keep in mind is, what do I get for my money? You're going to get Wi-Fi. All the utilities are usually included. Now there's going to be some other fees. As I mentioned a little earlier, the guest usually pays about 15%, an additional fee to stay. You're going to have a cleaning fee. Now these might already be worked into the price, so you'll have to see, depending on the advertisement, what fees are included and what fees are not included. Okay, so what if I want something cheaper? I don't want to pay $121 a night, and I want to stay in Fishtown, darn it. Well, of course, it's just like anything else. Do some research. You can look around at other sites, maybe go directly to the owner. There are a lot of owners that just list their properties themselves without a fee, and again, it's worked into the fee. So that might be able to save it. Look at some other websites, do have some other cheaper options as far as cheaper fees, less expensive to get in. You could create your own website. You wouldn't have to pay a fee. This is as an owner, of course, or and you want to look for those kind of websites. And there are a ton of them out there if you're a guest thinking of coming. Hey, you know what? Just ask. It never hurts to ask. They may have deals, multiple night transactions, multiple weeks, multiple months. A lot of people that come moving into the Philadelphia area, I think Airbnb is absolutely the best thing to do, because you're not sure about your neighborhood. Well, I always suggest, let's go to a short-term housing option. Let's check out some Airbnbs. If you're here for a week or two, or a few weekends over the course of a month or so, yeah, check out this neighborhood and stay in it one night. Go stay in another neighborhood the other night, but travel out as you're there. Really is a great way to see, because you're literally living in the neighborhoods. Or, of course, you can stay at some of our wonderful hotels, and there are some other short-term options as well. So a lot of people have been asking about Airbnbs, these certain laws surrounding it. So are cameras allowed? So yes and no. Well, which one is it? Cameras are not allowed in private areas, bathrooms, bedrooms, and so forth. Now, if you disclose as an owner, disclose that there are cameras on premises and they're obvious and they're outside or they're in areas that are for security, they are allowed. So if you have a camera in a bedroom area that isn't aiming at the door per se, or one of the back doors or something, check your local rules But generally speaking, cameras are allowed, but they're also not allowed unless they're being used for security. And hey, guests would like security, maybe a ring function that they could have access to, or one of these blink type cameras that is for your doorway, or comings and goings and so forth. So what happens if a guest doesn't leave? What if a guest becomes a squatter? Some cases, the police can get involved. I mean, someone is in your house illegally, you can call the police. It's kind of relative as to what they're doing and why aren't they leaving. There may be some other circumstances there, but letting somebody in your house and then them not staying is a big no-no and is not allowed, so call the police. You also check out your local laws, but if worse came to worse and you did have a squatter in there and you had to evict, the Philadelphia court system is pretty good, pretty fast for this kind of a thing, especially in the Airbnb realm. All right, so what about financing? I know you're curious. How do I get financing on these properties? Well, our friends at North Star Mortgage can certainly help you out. So an Airbnb property is an investment property, or maybe it isn't. If you're living there already, it's your current residence. Now, most investment properties require 20 to 25% down. That's it, hands down, sorry, no other way about it. Perhaps, however, a second home, if it is a vacation home and you stay there a certain amount of time, you got to check with the lender on how much time out of the year are you spending there. Now it is a vacation home or a second home. You could get into that maybe as little as 10% down, assuming on you intend or actually stay in the property when you say you do, and do not do mortgage fraud. It's a big no-no and it's a felony. It's not even a misdemeanor. It's a pretty big deal. So let's stay within the law limits, people. Now, if you're looking for maybe do an Airbnb hack, or how can I make money without having 10% down on a $250,000 house, or who has $30,000 to put down? Look, there's some house hacking options in the Airbnb realm. If you have permission in writing and verbal permission with a conversation, someone will allow you to rent their property on a yearly basis or a monthly basis. And you have the right to sublease it. And you have all the proper documentation, the proper insurance, the proper permits. This is allowed. This is a great moneymaker. This is an easiest way, in my opinion, in many, many years of real estate fun, house hacking in an Airbnb can work well. Another way to make great money without owning the properties in Airbnb is hosting an Airbnb experience. So there are a lot of these websites and bloggers and some bloggers too, but some excellent and handsome people with their cameras that could go around, and cameras are always nice because people like to watch a lot of video. But you can create an experience within the Airbnb realm where you're introducing to some of the greater Airbnbs in the area, some of the more popular ones. Why is this a better area to stay in? Or why would you want to stay in this particular Airbnb unit versus the one next door or the one down the street? What kind of amenities are included? It's a super great way for you to make money in the Airbnb space without owning the property itself. And speaking of super, you want to be a super host. Now, super host is this term that has come about when you, like we do in our real estate practice, provide super service. You go above and beyond what is expected of you. Instead of just providing a great place and space for folks to stay, you go above and beyond. Maybe you're providing some breakfast, maybe you're providing some other amenities that they weren't expecting. Perhaps you have a car coupled in this, or there's some sort of travel element to it. Something to make their experience even more super. Or thinking of moving to the Philadelphia area, definitely want to check out our home buying guide and our home selling guide here. Grab yourself a copy. They are free, put together by yours truly, and they are shown down in the notes below. Check out this video here, Living in Philadelphia, What Are the Neighborhoods? Once again, thank you so much for checking out our channel, Living in Philadelphia, and watching this video. We'll look to see you on the next one. Have a great day, everybody.